Today we're going to review some reciprocal inhibition, or RI, banded lunges. Now this is specifically for people who have knee pain, maybe when they're lunging, deadlifting, squatting, really any lower body movement. Now what we're going to do with reciprocal inhibition is we're going to be pulling our joints into a position that just naturally doesn't feel natural. So then our brain starts to fire and overcompensate. Now this also works to help program and initiate movement in more of a healthy optimal pattern as well. So maybe you're struggling with your knees caving in, not even with pain, on a lunge, a squat, a deadlift. This can also help with that. Now, let's go ahead and do a demonstration here with my left leg. So let's say that I'm having a hard time with my squats and my lunges. My knees naturally fall inwards. That's probably the most common pattern we're gonna see. So for this, I actually wanna bring the band to pull my knee inwards, further making that worse. Then my mind's gonna click on real quickly to overcompensate and bring it back to a neutral position. Now, you gotta bring a Superband in that has enough tension where you can feel it pulling you back and also be wide enough that it's not pinching on your skin. Otherwise, you can kind of utilize whichever sort of a band you desire. Now make sure you strap it onto a position. This could be onto a squat rack. Maybe it's onto a heavy piano, something that's just not going to move and you don't want to cause any damage, okay? No broken banisters, for example. Now I have this strapped on nice and tightly. It's gonna bring my knee inwards. So again, let's say perhaps my issue is with my lunge. I'm gonna keep that front leg forward. It's gonna pull my knee in. So already I'm working on stabilizing my glutes and balancing well. I'm gonna work into a lunge as it is trying to pull me inwards. If I let my body relax, boom, my knee's dropping inwards. My brain knows that's pretty bad. So I'm going to stabilize, utilize my glute, strengthening that position. Now this is great for activation. You can do this with a bit more of a heavy load, but don't do this as a strength building day at all, okay? More to build the neural pathways. Now let's say I was having a bit more of an issue with it being tracked outwards. Well, then I would just flip around to the other side. Same concept here, get into my lunge. It's gonna try to pull me outwards, but nope. My mind clicks on and strengthens inwards. So if you notice you have pain or instability, this is gonna be a really great exercise for you. Same thing goes with a squat. Get yourself into that position. You're used to one knee dropping in more than the other. Get yourself into a nice squat position, come back up. In body weight for activation before you get into your sets, or at a low weight for your actual sets. If you have both knees caving inwards, then make sure you wrap a band around both knees. We've all seen that sort of exercise where it caves both knees inwards and you naturally strengthen them out. This is a focus on one leg at a time. Great for lunges and great for that fine tuning on squats. Now another way you can do this, it doesn't have to be laterally. It can also be for those people who feel like they just can't get the depth in their knee flexion, sometimes due to meniscus pinching, swelling, just general movement pattern dysfunctions. So we want to now lock this one in on the upper part of your lower leg, so just below your knee. The band's gonna pull your tibia, your lower leg, forward, creating more space for us to get into our knee flexion. Again, maybe that's on a lunge, maybe that's on a squat. This is a really great warm-up to do for most people, because when you sit for a long period of time, we'll get some swelling behind the knee, a little bit of lack of mobility, and it's common for that tibia to shift slightly backwards, causing some pinching or just a lack of range of motion. So for any of these exercises, you gotta make sure you're pain-free. When you're doing the exercise, it should be pain-free. If it's not, change the angle that is pulling on you based off of where it's anchored. Change the angle on where it's connecting onto your body. Change the amount of tension, increase the tension by stepping backwards, reducing it by stepping forward. And then just position your body, get used to it initially. If you need a support structure, go ahead and grab onto a dowel, part of maybe your squat rack, a wall, whatever that might be for you, so you can focus on what we're trying to focus on right now, which is stabilizing the knee structure, loading through your hips, improving your movement pattern, and reducing, ideally eliminating, that knee pain. Now, if you feel there's any rubbing on the legs, you can also put a towel. You can be wearing pants while you're doing that, any sort of protection to protect that area ultimately. But either way, we want to make sure we're not loading the joint itself, but rather above or below. So you saw in the lunge, I had the band just above the knee. When I was trying to get the tibia to move forward, I had the band just below the knee. Never directly on the knee, as that's going to strain those ligaments, the MCL and the LCL. If you have any questions, as always, be sure to reach out. Have fun.